Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So it's Christmas again, and I got the chance to meet the big man himself. And apparently I've been a very good boy. Merry Christmas! Hello, welcome to Dan Does Christmas. Visited Santa, as you just saw, and he gave me this. This Santa, and you can eat his brains if you want to. I'm going to use this and make something, and I hope to God that this video gets out in time for Christmas, otherwise it's irrelevant. 'Tis the season to be merry. Fa la la la. Merry Christmas. Hello everybody. I'm going to start this sculpt right now with a bit of tin foil. This is how I wrap all of my Christmas presents, with tin foil. And what am I wrapping? A ball of tin foil. You should see the children cry. It's hilarious. And just to make sure the children are especially upset, we want to make this package especially hard to open. So I'm going to wrap it with some masking tape. Imagine they spend all that time getting the masking tape off, taking off layer and layer of tin foil to discover nothing. I've got some real issues. I had some Super Sculpey living doll lying around, so I thought I'd use this to beef out the tin foil. I don't want to waste the good stuff. Now with the little pin vise, I'm going to make some holes for legs, little leggies, Christmas leggies. Everything's going to be Christmas today. So with the Christmas sculpt, make some Christmas leggies with some Christmas wire. And I've attached it to a Christmas base, which is a wooden coaster. And then I'm going to get out some Super Sculpey and the old sling blade. Sling blade. Merry Christmas. I don't know why I persist with the terrible sling blade impressions. Firstly, I used this Super Sculpey foam to beef out the legs. Now I'm sure you've seen the thumbnail, otherwise how would you have got here? So I'm making Santa, but with a twist. He's not a zombie Santa. Just want to get that straight. And firstly, Santa is a rotund being. Is he human? We don't know. We don't know if Santa's human. I mean, I've yet to meet him. I mean, all those ones in shopping centres, they're fakes. Sorry, kids. They're not fakes. They work for Santa. You can't hear me winking, can you? When you think of Santa, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? That's right, morbid obesity. So I'm going to slap this belly on him. But I'm going to make sure there's no belly button, because he was not born. He is not human. I can't stress that enough. I got over it quickly with a texture tool and smoothing it out with isopropyl alcohol. Take out your imp trowel. I'm going to use this to carve a line across Santa's gut. Going to give him a big old smile on his big old belly that shakes like a bowl full of jelly. Disgusting. On to the classic, well, channel classic of white Fimo transparent. We're going to make a shit ton of teeth. Oh, as ever. There you go. Big old white bowl of rice. I think I need to get a different colour bowl because you can hardly see those teeth, and I've done about 10 videos now, and every video I use that bowl. I'm going to get a new bowl, just for you. Merry Christmas. Next, take out the tiny ball stick and make holes ready for the teeth. We're going to do them sort of crisscrossing in an interlocking style. Imagine a crocodile's toothy grin, that kind of thing. Now I could have done a fancy edit here of like xylophone sounds as all the teeth go in one by one, but I didn't, because to be honest I was up against the wall with this video. What's the point of making a Christmas video if you can't get it ready for Christmas? I'm still up against the wall. I'm not even sure if this will get out before Christmas. I bloody hope so. I watched one of those Hallmark / Lifetime Christmas movies the other day called Santa's Moves, where there was like a mall Santa who was really self-conscious about his moves, so he just went around and sort of held his arms close to his chest until the young lady who used to live in the small village but had become a big success in the city came back home and brought him a sports bra from New York. And he was very happy with it, and everybody was happy, and Christmas went ahead as planned. There's a lot of those films, aren't there? Crappy Hallmark Christmas movies, and they're all the same. Hello everyone, just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to the patrons, starting with the do-betters tier, the big guys: Ed Trotz, Gemma Ingram, Jake Langford, Miranda Stone, and Shiteful. And then the next tier, the do-gooders tier, thank you very much to Andy Scott, Anthony Roberts, Benedict Mueller, Brando B, Cathal Grant, Chris Gilliard, Demon Mitten Hands, Gert Gervins from Dark Matter Workshop, Goat Harasser, Google and District Catholic River Wideners Club, Carl Deaking, Krista, Larry, Mary Peterson, Mike Pitt, Positive Puppet, Rabies of Lard, Rich Miles, and Stuart Ashton of Ashens, and Want Pants too. And a big thanks also to the Doers tier. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And if you would like to join Patron, the link is there in the info, and it means an awful lot to me and this channel. And it is all the encouragement I need to continue. Merry Christmas, everybody. Just adding folds and creases and blubberous pieces. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the streets was folds and creases and blubberous pieces. I told you that I'm not very well as I record this voiceover. I'm slightly delirious. I've made one extra deep crease there on the back of the head, and you're probably thinking why. And I'm here to say not to worry your pretty little head about it. It will all be explained later on. Drilling a hole now for some armature wire for the arm, using the weight of the pin vise to check the depth. It's a pleasure to meet you, Monster Santa. Because the arms will need to be flexible, and so with the extremities I'm using Cosclay, and I'm going to start with the hands, which I hate, and I'm going to be using the Surgeon's Nightmare. These names are a real stretch now. I'm assuming it's blunt, so the surgeon would have a hell of a time. That's my logic there. And I'm going to cut some fingers. Why do hands have to be so bloody detailed? Why can't we just have big old suckers or something? You know, like the Leech Man action figure from He-Man. May have been She-Ra. Just had big old suckers for hands. That'd be much easier to make. I'm going to put an image of Leech Man up now, in case you don't remember. Once those bloody fingers are done, take out a snub and press in indentations ready for nows later on. And I needn't show you the process of making the second hand, which I have formed into a fist, as if clutching something, but clutching what? Please stay tuned to find out. Give us a little turn, Monster Santa. That's lovely. Just like that. Next we do feet, which are second to hands. As in they're still shit, but just not as shit as hands. This is the painting part of the video. Going to start off with some dark flesh tone and just give it an undercoat, pretty much. This is pretty much the colour I always use for undertones on a flesh coloured beast or person. And I thought I'd try something different today. I thought I'd break out the airbrush that I'm terrified of using and give that a go. It clogs every 2 minutes. Doesn't really have much power. It tends to spurt and leave specks everywhere and doesn't work very well, but we'll give it a go. You should of course be wearing some kind of mask or respirator thing while doing this.
You think the darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, formed by it. Up yours, Batman.
It's not for me.
I didn't see the light until I was already a man. And by then it was nothing but blinding. My name's Bane.
Back to trusty old brush, I think. I don't know if it's just that my airgun thing is rubbish. But so also I ended up getting paint on the teeth. And the whole point of making them in translucent clay is that the teeth look great. But now I just have to paint over them, which is annoying. And it's kind of spoiled the whole effect. Christmas is ruined! I use a little red wash on the gums before painting each of those teeth with a bone white. Oh well. We learn from our mistakes and we continue through life, no matter how hard and painful and depressing it is. Merry Christmas. I've also painted its head stub black, for reasons you will find out soon enough. Now, remember the Santa lollipop that I showed you at the beginning that I got from Santa? Well, it's time to take out my art sheave and cut this mother up. I'm going to scratch it, trim it, crack it. I'm going to take out the pin vise and make eyes and give it a big old crack down its face, and then eventually I'm going to paint it bone white. What I'm trying to do is make a mask, but make it look like a mask and not some plastic piece of crap toy. I've also drilled a couple of holes on the side of its head, ready for the wire for when it's attached to the evil monster Santa's face. I say evil, we haven't established that he's evil yet. I mean, that will become quite clear. I mean, look at his belly. I left the house again. 'Tis Christmas, so I felt like I had to. You got to buy presents and things. And I bought some white wool from a charity shop for £1. And I'm going to use this to make hair. But this time I have decent glue for this process. It's Fabri-Tac, which is very good. I'm actually in love with it now. I'm having a relationship with Fabri-Tac. That's weird. God. Forget that. Anyway, it's great for sticking material and hair and all that kind of stuff. I tried this before with super glue, you may have seen on an older video, and it was an absolute disaster. I came out looking like a teenage werewolf. Give that beard a little trim. I'm just going to put sporadic patches of hair on this thing because there's nothing creepier than a big bloated pink thing with the odd patches of hair. Give that beard a little stroke. I mean, he's looking a little bit like Peter Stringfellow. Next, I'm going to take some floral wire, also known as Christmas wire, and since it's Christmas, I'm going to call it floral wire. I'm going to use that to thread into the mask. Treat it like a real mask, just very small. Tie the floral wire to each hole and then attach it at the back of the monster's head with a little neat twist. And And that's what that deep groove was for at the beginning. Foresight. See, there was a little bit of planning. Not much, but a little bit. Merry Christmas. Our Monster Santa is looking a little bit cold, despite all that blubber. So I bought a few £1 Christmas hats from Poundland, which is the British equivalent of the dollar store, probably. Gonna use some horror shears here to cut out some bits of material. I'm gonna go for the red first. And there I've got me a nice swath, or swath, that's a word, isn't it? Swath of material there, ready to clothe Monster Santa. And I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this, because I love it so, suddenly. Recently, it's a fresh love. I'm going to use it to wrap around the arms first. And this was a bit of a trial and error thing. I've never done this before. So I did the arm, and then I would sort of just attach patches to the bald spots. And because of the fur, you can't really see the seams. And to be honest, with the design of this Monster Santa, the scruffier the better. He is looking a bit like a red gorilla, which is also a great look. And if you cut the hat just right, you can still use it at Christmas. Once the jacket is done, time to add the white trim, which I've taken from the white trim of the very cheap hat. Adding it to the cuffs and the collar. I didn't go for the traditional white trim along the bottom of the jacket, just because I think I want it to be a bit tatty at the bottom there. Like it's been dragging in the dirt and just worn away. That, and I couldn't be bothered. I got me some sparkly pipe cleaners, and I've not really had much use for pipe cleaners up until now. I know people make trees out of them, but I specifically ordered glittery pipe cleaners because they are the perfect scowl for tinsel. I'm not sure if tinsel's a big thing in America, but it's quite big in this country, especially in the 80s. Everybody would pot tinsel up because they would only have one candle, and the more reflective surfaces the better if you want to see things. Out with the transparent white Fimo again to make some claws for the hands and feet. I made more than I needed. I figured that Molar could have a little Christmas treat. He's been pretty well behaved. It was quite satisfying putting these nails in, held in with a bit of a cheap ass super glue. Especially satisfying that they all fit and looked alright. And once they were in and the glue was dry, dirtied them up a bit. Can't be going around with clean nails now, that would not suit his image. Here is a big old turd made out of clay. And this is going to be his sack that I'm going to cover with cos clay, and then take a bit of armature wire and snip it, just tiny little, just a few millimetre snips, and use those as stitches along lines that I've etched in with a clay tool. It's all pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you can see what I'm doing. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here. But you have to say something. There's nothing worse than dead air, is there? Or perhaps it's what you... Please leave a comment. And while you're at it, like and subscribe. It is Christmas. That could be your gift to me. And I know you're probably thinking, well, we agreed not to do gifts this year. But have you checked your mailbox recently? All 3,000 or so of you? There has been a Royal Mail strike in the UK, so if you haven't received a special Christmas gift from Dan does. It's because of that. Now this is a square of material from a bag for life. That's not really a bag for life anymore, is it? I use this to give the sack a Hessian texture. Then painted it your usual sack brown, and then attached it to Monster Santa's back with some Fabri-Tac. Then I got out some jute twine, I think it's called. It's just string, normal string. And the lovely thing about working to this scale is that string looks like rope to this guy. And I used it to tie around the sack and to attach to his hand. And it also gave the relatively heavy sack some support there on his back. And it looks quite nice. I use super glue to firm that string up. And then all that's left to do, apart from the base, is make some little candy canes for his right hand. Making tiny food is always fun, and to make these I used the translucent white Fimo and some translucent red Fimo. Rolled them into very tiny chipolatas and twisted them quite gently. You want more white than red. Twist and twist and twist, and then gently roll out with your fingers so it's smooth and flush. And then before you bake them, bend them into the desired candy cane shape. And there you go. Lovely little tiny candy canes. I made more than I needed, so I could cut them up and break them up into little pieces, so I could glue them to his hand. I imagine this monster wouldn't have an intact candy cane, or not many. It just wouldn't suit. So he's got a handful of broken candy canes. And in case you haven't figured it out already, these candy canes are used to entice children into his big old belly full of teeth. And finally the base. And I'm going to use this cheap fixing ground that I got from the pound shop to mimic snow on the base that I've painted black. I'm going to spread it on with my finger and then smooth it out with a wet finger. I always have one dry finger and one wet finger for such occasions. That was just a base. Next I'm going to use some Army Painter Snow, but you could use baking soda, some glue and some white glitter that I bought a while ago and never really got much use out of. It's only really any good for snow, but it works pretty well, as you'll see. Mix them all up in a tiny shot glass. I apply the glue to the base. This is basing 101. I'm sure most of you know this. And then sprinkle the wonderful snow mixture on. And that is it. This model is done. It's time for the showcase. I hope you have a lovely Christmas. Do hang around for the end. We'll have a little outro. I've noticed that the figures drop, or the graph plummets when it comes to the outro. So I'm grateful to those of you that do hang around. Merry Christmas. You made it to the end. 'Tis a Christmas miracle. Here's the evil Santa. Looks alright. was a lot of work, took a long while. December is a busy month for a lot of people, I assume, but especially busy for someone who works in a sweet shop, because a lot of people like to eat sweets at Christmas and then desperately try to run the sweets off in January. But here's Evil Santa, not a zombie, I'm going to stress. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. And if you want to be extra generous at Christmas, you could join Patreon for as little as £3 or $2 million. I don't know what the exchange rate is these days. It's probably the other way round, knowing the economy. We're not going to get into that. Have a lovely Christmas. Thank you for watching.